Welcome to those of you just joining us. You are in the right spot for Healthy Cooking with Chris. Our guest chef today is Miss Isabelle Hinton, and we are going to get started in just about 2 more minutes. We have a flurry of people joining us here at the last minute. We wanted to let you know that it is okay to leave your camera off if you want. We are recording this session, and we know that some people don't really want their faces shown. We will have you muted though, so we would appreciate it if you would keep it on mute and use the chat box if you have any questions for us. Thanks. Welcome to those of you just joining us. You are in the correct spot for Healthy Cooking with Chris. Our guest chef today is Miss Isabelle Hinton. We are going to get started in about 1 or 2 more minutes. We have quite a flurry of people joining us here at the last second. This session will be recorded, so if you're in your pajamas or you just don't want to have your face shown, feel free to leave your camera off. It'll be just about 2 more minutes before we get going. Welcome to those of you just joining us for Healthy Cooking with Chris. You are in the right spot. We are going to have a guest chef today. Her name is Isabelle Hinton. I think you might be familiar with her. And we have quite a flurry of people joining us here right at the last second. So it may be a minute, we may be running a little minute or two behind today. We wanted to let you know that we are recording this session. So if you're still in your pajamas or you're just having a bad hair day, feel free to leave your camera off. And that way we can just see your name. You can rename yourself as well if anybody wants to know how to do that. All you do is find your name on the screen in your little box, and there are 3 dots next to that name. There's a little blue, when you hover over your name, it'll say unmute, or there'll be 3 little dots. If you click on those 3 little dots, you'll see rename, and you hit that, and you can change your name to anything you want. Little warning, when you change your name to anything you want, it changes it until you change it back to whatever your name was. So if you make yourself, you know, Queen of the Zoom, you're going to be Queen of the Zoom in the next meeting you go into. So just be very cautious with that. All right. All right, Isabelle, I say 2:02 by my watch, so I think we're going to start with our little spiel here. I will probably still be adding some people as we go along, but welcome to Healthy Cooking with Chris. Our guest chef today is Isabelle Hinton. She's on mute. I'm going to unmute her in just a minute, but first you have to sit through all of my spiels. So the first spiel is, you probably heard as you've been entering, we are recording this, so please feel free to leave your camera off if you wish. You can turn it on. It's a little bit of a smaller group today, so we're going to allow you to leave your camera on if you want to be seen. Please leave yourself on mute though, because it makes it hard for everybody else to hear when there's background noise or something is going on. So other ways to get a hold of us while we're on this is to just wiggle your mouse and you will see the chat box. Feel free to type something in the chat box. I keep monitoring the chat box while Isabelle cooks. I have the easy job. And that way I can answer or ask any questions you like. And if there are any issues and you need to speak to us, feel free to just pop off and email me at amynicholsareaagencyonaging.org. So somebody just managed to unmute. So I'm going to find out who that was and I'm going to mute them right up. All right, here we go. Now, if we are hacked or Zoom bombed, you'll know it right away, and this session will end. And when this session ends, we will revisit it another day, so never worry. All right, let's go to the next slide over here. So my name is Amy Nichols. I am the campus coordinator for the Campus for Creative Aging, which is part of the Area Agency on Aging. And the campus is located at 2920 Lakeview Drive in St. Joseph, Michigan. I know we have several people here from out of state today. So I wanted you to know we are Michigan, and I wanted to give a little shout out to the people joining us from the Gulf Coast region of the country right now. I'm hoping you're doing okay in the hurricane, because Hurricane Sally didn't move herself out nearly fast enough, and she's causing you all kinds of troubles. So thank you for taking time out of your hurricane-ness to join us. The campus, however, located in St. Joe, is also a physical presence, but it is a movement. And our movement is to make aging fun and creative and educational. So that's where this comes in. And we had to make it fun and creative because we could no longer meet in person. We would have done a cooking class like this in person before. We don't do that anymore. Now we just do it like this. And I have to say, I love this format, and it seems to be going pretty well for us. So thank you for joining us there. And our guest chef today is Isabelle Hinton. She is a health educator, and she is part of the Community Health, Equity, and Inclusion Department at the Bronson Wellness Center. And she gets to go back to work next week, I think, in an actual building. So she's very excited about that because we finally get to open up some of our gyms here in the state of Michigan. But for right now, she is joining us from her kitchen, and you guys have probably seen her do this before if you have been here. I am going to stop sharing, and I am going to go ahead and spotlight our girl, and then I'm going to ask her to unmute. And ta-da, you are unmuted, right? Nope. Oh, now you muted again. You were too quick. Let's see if I can do it. All right, let me ask to unmute. Hold on. Okay, now wave. Now talk.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yay.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys today? I am super excited to be here. This is my second time as a guest chef on Cooking with Chris. I did a desserts class a month or so ago, and today we have a kitchen to table in 15 minutes, and our theme for our class today is Quesadilla Extravaganza. So, I'm just curious, you can do a thumbs up. I don't know if you guys know how to do thumbs up on your Zoom, but does anybody like to save time in the kitchen? I'm hoping so, because I don't know why else you'd be here. So if you want to give a thumbs up if you know how to do that. Amy, I don't know if you want to explain how to do that, just because I might ask that a couple times.
So there's a couple ways to do it. The first one, the easiest one, is at the bottom of your screen. When you wiggle it, it says reactions, and there's a thumbs up or clappy hands. So that's where I do it. I think it's the fastest. You can also do it if you pull up the participant screen, but I like that one the quickest.
All right, sounds good. Well, welcome everybody. Like Amy said, my name is Isabelle, and in our Quesadilla Extravaganza class today, we are going to learn how to make 3 different types of healthy and easy meals that you can get onto your table in 15 minutes or less. So I hope you guys are excited for this because I am excited myself. So you should have gotten the recipe at the beginning of this class if you want to follow along. And from what I hear, some of you might be cooking along with me. So that's super exciting. I hope that you guys enjoy what you make. So we are going to start off with my personal favorite, a black bean and sweet potato quesadilla. Now, the way this is going to work is we're going to put all the quesadilla together, and then I'm going to grill it. And the grill was too large for my camera, so that's pushed off to the front. So when that's grilling, we'll do something else, a game or a poll, and then I will show you what it looks like at the end. So if you want to follow along, we are going to get started. So for this black bean and sweet potato quesadilla, you need some main ingredients, whole wheat tortillas, black beans, sweet potatoes, cheese, taco seasoning, and onions. So a pretty not extensive list of groceries, and it's a pretty delicious recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut open our cooked sweet potatoes. So my microwave is broken today. Otherwise, I would have showed you guys how quick these sweet potatoes cook in 9 minutes in the microwave, but my microwave is broken, so I had to go the old-fashioned way and cook these for about an hour in my oven, but they look beautiful. So what you're gonna do is with your cooked sweet potato, you are going to scoop out the inside and dump it into a bowl, just like this. Scoop that in, get it all out of the skin. It's nice and tender. All right. You don't have to take it out of the skin if you don't want to, but it's a great, it makes it, some people don't like the skin of the potato. So if you don't like the skin of the potatoes, you can take it out of its skin. So what we're going to do is we are going to mash together sweet potatoes, black beans, and some taco seasoning. Now, when you do this, it's not going to look super beautiful, but I promise you it tastes so, so good. All right.
Food just can't look beautiful all the time, right? It's like us.
As long as it tastes good, that is what's the most important parts of cooking. That's my philosophy. If it doesn't taste good, oh well, as long as it, if it doesn't look good, oh well, as long as it tastes good.
Exactly.
So now I'm going to take my black beans. These are a great, great source of protein and fiber, and they are really cheap at the grocery store. I think I got this can of black beans for maybe 55 cents. So it's a great way to buy a lean source of protein. They're high in fiber, they're low in fat, and they're super versatile. So I'm going to dump those on in there.
Did you drain those, Isabelle, and wash them?
Thank you very much, Amy. So with the black beans, I drained them and I rinsed them. The cool thing is when you rinse canned vegetables, you actually reduce the sodium content by 30%. So like all of us should be watching our sodium, I highly recommend rinsing them to get rid of the extra sodium, and also rinse, like coloring that comes with black beans. So we're gonna mix that all together in our bowl. I think I might actually switch to a fork, actually, make it a little bit easier. And while I'm going through this, I want to tell you a couple benefits of sweet potatoes. So let me let you in on a secret here. I did not like sweet potatoes until I got this job, and Chris, my supervisor, had me try this recipe. And now I make this recipe so often that I don't even need to read it while I am going through it, because I make it all the time. My husband's a huge meat eater, and he doesn't even realize that there's no meat in this. And he always requests these for, lunch and dinner. So this is a really, really, really great recipe. So not only do you have the protein and the fiber that comes from the black beans, but you also get some vitamin A and some vitamin C from the sweet potatoes. Now, those are really good for us because they help with our eye health, they support our immune function, they help heal wounds. So just like all fruits and vegetables, the vitamins and minerals are really good for us. All right, so I got most of this mixed up. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add my taco seasoning. So here I have a half a packet of taco seasoning, and it's the less sodium kind because packaged taco seasoning has a lot of sodium in it, and since we should all be watching our sodium levels, we want to try and get the least amount of sodium in this. So we're just going to dump this on in, get some good spices going with that, and then we're going to give it another great stir, another good stir, mashing it all together. All right. I'm going to turn my skillet on.
What
was that, Amy? I think you broke up for a second.
I did. Sorry, I hit the space bar too fast. What heat were you turning it on to your skillet?
On my skillet, I just have it at 325. Medium heat is a good heat to use for this, and you don't actually have to even do it on a skillet. You can, put this on a frying pan on your stove if you don't have a skillet, and it'll work just as good that way. All right. Okay, so I want to show you guys what this looks like. So when you make it, you're not surprised, but I promise you, it tastes so good. So you can see it might not look super beautiful, but it tastes super good. Okay.
On the plus side, it looks very Halloween-y. Like, you know, it's got some black and some orange. I'd go with the Halloween dish.
I love it. That's perfect. And cool thing too is if you've got kids or grandkids, this is a great way to tell them this is cheese in their quesadilla when actually it's not. So we do add cheese onto it, but hey, if they're afraid of eating orange vegetables, you can always try that way and see how that works.
Okay. So my family, Isabelle, is super lazy. Can you microwave this? Can you just put this together and put it in the microwave? Melt things together?
Yes, you can. You can make sure that the sweet potato is cooked ahead of time, either in the microwave or in the oven. But you can definitely throw this quesadilla into the microwave if you don't want to do the skillet. I personally prefer the skillet because I like the crispiness and the golden brown crunch that you get when you grill a quesadilla on a skillet. But if that doesn't matter to you, throw it in the microwave, get that cheese melted, and you are good to go.
I honestly think it's about the dishes. They don't want to have to do any more dishes.
I get it. I totally get it. With me not having my microwave working properly, it's been a ridiculous amount of extra dishes that I've had to do. We've gone microwave-less for a week, and it's been, I didn't realize how much I relied on microwaves until I'm not able to use them anymore. So, all right. So now what we're going to do, I'm actually just going to make one of these since my husband is gone right now, and, you know, he'll want some fresh quesadilla when he gets home from school. But what I'm going to do here now is I've got my mixture with my black beans, my sweet potatoes, and my taco seasoning. And I am going to spread this on a whole wheat tortilla. So whole grain and whole wheat tortillas are a much better choice for us than refined grains. They are higher in fiber. Our bodies digest whole grains better. And I personally like the taste of whole grains better. But some people have different thoughts and opinions on this. But say you can't eat, wheat because of an allergy or something, this tastes just as good on a corn tortilla or with a couple of, tortilla chips crumbled on top. So that there's lots of different ways you can make this to work with your family. Okay, so I've got it spread on half the tortilla. I'm going to take a little bit of some cheese and sprinkle it on right here.
You know I'm going to ask what kind of cheese.
This one is sharp cheddar, but it works with any kind of cheese. I've made it with mozzarella, I've made it with Swiss, I've made it with pepper jack. So there's whatever cheese you prefer and you enjoy, it works. I just had cheddar cheese because that's what I bought at the store, and it tastes just as good too. So whatever cheese you like works for this. Cool. Okay, my last little bit that I'm going to sprinkle onto this is some green onions. I personally love onions. If you don't like onions, you can omit the onions, but what kind of life is that without onions? So they are my favorite vegetable. You can ask anybody. I eat them on anything that I can. Okay, so we have a nice folded over little quesadilla right here. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to throw it onto my skillet. You can kind of hear the sizzle maybe, and let it go for a few seconds while it turns golden brown. And while we're waiting, Amy, would you be able to launch a poll or a chat question?
I would happily launch this poll. Our very first poll is called Handheld. And so we want to know what is your favorite handheld food that is not a quesadilla? Now, if you've not joined us before and know about polls, we pop these up all the time. You need to click on your answer and then hit submit. And then we kind of let it roll for a minute or so, not even quite that long. And then we'll show you the results. So what is your favorite food that is not a quesadilla? Tacos, sandwiches, wraps, or burgers? Now this one I think is going to be a little close, judging from where we're at right now. I would say that I'm going to give it, where almost everybody's voted, I'm going to give it about 5 more seconds. So it's your chance to be beyond tacos, sandwiches, wraps, or burgers. And I really, when I was typing in, you type in these polls beforehand, I was torn on this one. All right, and I'm going to end the polling so now you can see the results. And here's the results, you guys. It looks like wraps just beat out. Look at that, Isabelle. Wraps were 35, tacos, sandwiches, and burgers were all 22%, a 3-way tie. I've never seen that before.
That is incredible.
Wow. All right. I'm going to stop my sharing. Nice job, you guys.
Yeah, that's great. I love all of those handheld foods, but I really love quesadillas. And right here, we've got our beautiful quesadilla. So it's kind of fun. You guys see that? I don't know if you can see it. It's a little toasty, so I'm gonna drop it down onto my cutting board before I burn myself. But it is quick, it's healthy, it's beautiful, and it tastes delicious. So that is the first quesadilla I've got for you. Black bean and sweet potato quesadilla. Now, I'm just curious, in the chats, would anybody try this? If you want, you can take yes or no or maybe. Just curious.
Yep. Yes, no, or maybe in the chat box. So remember, wiggle your mouse and at the bottom, and then you'll see chat. You just click on it, and it automatically goes to everyone, unless you identify that you want to just send it to me personally. But ooh, lots of yeses. And somebody wants to try it with corn tortillas. Oh, and I like, even the thumbs up is great. Nice job, Doris. Somebody wants it with salsa. Now, somebody doesn't really like tortillas, so I wonder if tortilla chips would be an option. Or
that option.
Bread. Yeah.
Or yeah, gluten-free or whatever you like is good for you. Tortilla chips, whatever works. I am going gluten-free right now just for a test for some allergy. And I have eaten the sweet potato quesadilla with just some, like, those hard tostada shells. Like one tostada shell that crumple on top of that, just the corn hard tortilla. And that tastes just as good too, just scooping it, by hand. And it also tastes really great with salsa and plain Greek yogurt. So a lot of people turn their noses up at plain Greek yogurt because it sounds kind of like a weird combination, but I promise you, it's so good. It tastes exactly like sour cream. I think I was sharing this with you guys if any of you joined my desserts class, but my husband didn't for the longest time know that I was using plain Greek yogurt, and he just found out that I've been using plain Greek yogurt, and he was like, oh, I won't like that because it's Greek yogurt. And I told him, well, you've been getting that on a lot of your food, so I know that you like it, I know that you will eat it. So I highly recommend trying it with plain Greek yogurt, plus it adds a little bit of protein, so that is really good as well. So that,
hey, Isabel, can you hold that up real close so we can see what it looks like?
Yes, I can. I can move. What is that?
Okay, it looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. Yeah. And look at that, handheld.
Handheld, exactly. Well, that is all I have for the black bean and sweet potato quesadilla. If you want to transition to a game, Amy, and then I can get my next quesadilla set up.
All right, I would love to transition to the game. So we were laughing about this game because it's called Never Have I Ever. Now, you're going to have to keep your own score here on this game. I'm going to trust y'all to do your thing on your own. And this is, you get 1 point for each food you have never tried. So we want to see if you're adventurous, and the person with the least amount of points wins. So this is like golf, right? I think of it that way, like the world's biggest golf game. All right, here we go. So you get 1 point for everything you've never tried. Here's the list. Oysters, spinach, bugs of any kind. We're not picky about the bugs, just any kind of bug. And sometimes maybe you try those accidentally. Food that fell on the floor. Food that either your cat or dog has licked off of. Poke, which is a Hawaiian and an Asian bowl with raw fish in it, and rice and some things. Squirrel, as in, like the squirrel outside. Pickled pig's feet, pickled eggs, liver, gizzards, pork rinds, escargot, which are snails, chitlins, which are innards, spam, that's the stuff in a can. I don't think I have to explain that one. Cheese whiz, also in a can, but a little spray bottle. A Jell-O salad of any kind, we're not picky. A McRib sandwich, edamame, which are soybeans, and sushi. So now, out of these 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5. Oh, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of these 20, I want to know in the chat box how many of them you have never tried. So out of these 20, how many in the chat box you have never tried? All right. So 2. One says 2 bugs and food my dog licked. Okay, I will tell you that I did not, that was not my one. I've only had one of these that I didn't do, which should tell you a lot about me. Somebody got an 11, somebody got an 8, a 6, ooh, 13, all right. A 3, a 2, I think I am winning this game right now. Because there's only one that I haven't tried, and I may have tried it, I just can't remember. Because my grandma used to eat some weird things. You know how grandmas are. So a 2, Terry, we're close. I'm a 1. Anybody got a 1 or a 0? Doesn't look like it. All right, it looks like I won. And the one I won on was chitlins, because I don't think I've ever had those, but my grandma very well may have served them to me. She ate tongue, all that stuff. And yes, honestly, I have eaten food that my dog licked, or even my cat. And I've actually eaten things that fall on the floor more times than I care to admit. Oh, so, 3. All right, 2 was the winner. All right, I'm going to stop this now, and I'm going to unmute Isabelle. Hopefully, well, those iPhones give me fits on my unmuting. So, Isabelle, out of those 20, how many were you?
I can tell you I'm not a super adventurous eater, so probably not a lot. So, my sister's fiance, though, absolutely loves snail, but he hates eggs. And so I thought it was just a really interesting thing that he'll eat snail, he'll eat, you know, those ostrich, those, or not little ostrich, those little baby eggs.
Whale eggs, yeah.
Ostrich eggs would be like that big. So anyway, so he eats that, and I just always I always laugh with him, because it's just like, oh man, you don't like eggs, but you'll eat snail and all these other adventurous foods. But to each their own, and hey, you never know if you like something till you try it, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that was super interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed that game. And so moving on to our next quesadilla, we are going to be making a spicy chicken and a vegetable quesadilla. Now, the really cool thing with this recipe is on your recipe that you received in your email, you can see all the different combinations of food that you can try this with. So we're just going to do a plain chicken and vegetable quesadilla, but you can try this in so many different styles. You can make this Southwest flavored by using black beans and corn and tomatoes and onions, and using, you know, cumin and chili powder. You can make this Philly style by swapping out, you know, some broccoli for the onions and the mushrooms and the bell peppers, using Swiss or provolone cheese, or you can try this in a spinach artichoke option, where you spread each tortilla with a tablespoon of low-fat cream cheese, and you add spinach and artichoke on that, fresh spinach and artichoke too. So there's lots of different ways that you can play around with this recipe. But today we're just going to kind of focus on the basic version of this recipe, which is the spicy chicken and vegetable quesadilla. So right here, I've got some cooked chicken. Now the cool thing about this recipe too is that you can use any kind of cooked chicken you have on hand. So if you have some left over from the night before, if you have canned chicken at your house, this will work just as fine with canned chicken. If you make, you know, chicken and rice for your dog or whatever, and you have leftover chicken and rice that your dog didn't eat out of, you can use that.
Just gonna say that. Does the dog get to lick it first?
That would be on the other game, right?
Yeah. Whoops, sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, so there's some different ways that you can, you know, play around with this. If you don't like chicken, you can make this vegetarian. So tons of different ways to do this recipe. So what we're gonna do is I've got some boiled chicken that I made yesterday for dinner. And one thing I wanted to share with you, which is a really cool tip if you're trying to save money, or excuse me, save time while cooking. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but using a hand mixer or a stand mixer to shred your chicken. It shreds it in seconds. So for the longest time, I hated shredding chicken because I hated using the forks to like shred it, and it took forever. But a really quick tip is using a hand mixer, and it will just shred it in seconds. It's crazy. I told my mother-in-law this last week, and she didn't believe me, and she tried it, and she was just stunned at how quickly it was done. So if you're looking for a quick way to speed that up, that's a good way to do it.
Can you show us what it looks like in the bowl?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that.
Wow.
That's all just from a hand mixer, and it took me 20 seconds to shred it. So it takes so much the least amount of time. It's fantastic. So just a little tip for you guys. Now, what I'm gonna do is I've got some cooked broccoli here as well, and so I am gonna just warm up the chicken and the broccoli in a pan here while we get everything out situated, just to kind of get a nice warm flavor. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to, but I prefer a warm toasty quesadilla, so this will just kind of help it warm all the way through. Just want to make sure, of course, that your chicken is cooked before you do this. So,
how did you cook your chicken, Isabelle? I forgot to ask. Did you bake it or boil it or what?
I boiled it. I'm one of the, not very many people that like boiled chicken. so I boiled my chicken. And for me, that's way easier than seasoning it and baking it in the oven, that's good too. But this is just way quicker. I can just dump it in some water and then season it afterwards, and it still tastes just as good to me. I'll mix it with some corn and some black beans and some tomatoes and, make a little taco bowl out of it. So that's what I like to do, but you can do it however you. So, all right. So Amy, while I'm heating this up on this stove for a little bit, would you be able to do another chat or poll question?
I can.
I'm
going to talk about cooking, and you guys heard my comment earlier about my family being lazy. So you'll notice that I have a little bit in here about the cooking. You'll notice which question or which answer I added in from Isabelle. So when deciding to cook your food, what do you think about the most? How good it will taste, how long it will take, how healthy it is, how easy it's going to be to make, or how many dishes I will have to do. Did I tell you my family doesn't like when I cook and use every dish in the house? They yell at me at every meal, I swear. So do you want to know, do you worry about more about how good it will taste, how long it will take, how healthy it is, how easy it's going to be to make, or how many dishes you're going to have to do at the end? Because my husband is a really great dish doer, but honestly, he whines at every single meal, except for the one that Chris made last class. The cabbage one was the one pan deal, and it was delicious. If you all have not made that one, you need to make that one right now because it's such a great fall vegetable, but it is just great. And one pan, so I did not get in trouble for making too many dishes with that one. And by the way, we have a comment, great tip on the shredding. I've never done that, nor has Chris, so good to know. And all right, here we go. We're gonna end this polling before I ask my next question. And it looks to me like good for you. This group is super healthy, Isabelle. They wanna know how healthy it is before they cook. And then in second place is how easy it's going to be. And then third place is how good it's going to taste. Somebody out there works with me on the dishes, I have a kindred soul on the dishes. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing this, and then I'm going to ask your question real quick before you get going. Did you use breast meat? And then when you shredded it in the mixer, do you do all of it at once, or do you just do one at a time? How'd you do that?
Yeah, definitely. So I use chicken breast. I prefer chicken breast over any other type of, chicken thigh or anything. I really, really do enjoy chicken breast, and so that's what I use. And usually I will use my stand mixer, and I will shred it when it's still warm. But just know that if you are doing that, then I highly recommend putting a towel over it, because otherwise you have hot flying chicken all over the place. So if you're not going to use a stand mixer where you can't put a towel over it, make sure you cool it in the refrigerator, and then once it's cold, then you can shred it with the hand mixer. So I actually shredded this with the hand mixer while it was cold, and it worked just as fine. Now I recommend doing, maybe if you're using chicken breast, maybe 2 or 3 chicken breasts at a time, depending on how big your bowl is. But you don't want to overstuff it, because if you overstuff it, you got chicken flying everywhere. So, so I would do it in small batches just to change like that. I only cooked 3 chicken breasts, and so I was able to, do them all together in one bowl, and I didn't have chicken flying everywhere. But if you are going to make a bunch of chicken breasts, just to remind yourself to just kind of break it up a little bit so you don't have chicken thrown everywhere. All right. Okay, so right now I've got my chicken and broccoli heating up just a little bit. And while that's heating up, we are going to make a little sauce that we are going to spread onto our tortilla. So right here, I've got some plain Greek yogurt. Open that up, and you can measure this if you want to. I am not going to measure it today because I don't love super spicy food, so I'm going to use a little bit less than the recipe calls for. My husband and I are babies in that sense, but if you love spicy food, feel free to use more or less as you see fit. Now, hopefully, I can open this up and see if it will open up. Should have opened this up before, so I apologize while you guys watch me struggle opening up this.
That's right. I have gotten on board with the spicier. You kind of have to work up to it. It's just, a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And so when I made that cabbage night before, my husband was like, finally, you're getting it spicy enough, because I put a little extra red pepper in there.
I need to practice that then, I guess. I need to just get it used to my taste buds, but both of us have a really hard time with spicy foods. But the cool thing about this one is that the Greek yogurt will kind of cool the spiciness off a little bit. So I've got my little hot sauce here, and I'm going to just do a couple of dabs into my Greek yogurt. Not too many. All right. And then I'm just going to mix this all together. So the cool thing about this recipe too is that chicken is a really, really great source of protein, and it's a lean source of protein. So if you're looking to, get a lean source of protein into your diet, then chicken is a great way to do it. And same with Greek yogurt, because Greek yogurt is absolutely, absolutely great protein-wise. And then you can kind of see it's a little bit, it's kind of hard to see because of my light, but it's like a beautiful light pale orange. So now what I'm going to do is I've got my broccoli and chicken all heated up. So I'm going to take another whole wheat tortilla, because we know whole wheat is good for us. I'm going to take a little bit of this sauce, and I'm just going to kind of spread it on one side right here. And then I am going to take my chicken and broccoli mixture, and I'm going to put this on it.
Well, we can see that's hot.
It is. It got hot a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be, but that works. We're trying to do this in 15 minutes.
Exactly. We don't have time for, for it to not be hot, so good job.
Exactly. All right. Now, if you want to, you could have tossed this in some salt and some pepper and some garlic powder. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on top because I forgot to toss it in there, but this works just as fine. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt here, add a little bit of good taste to it. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder to add a good flavor to it as well. And then just a little bit of pepper.
Now I noticed you're using garlic powder instead of garlic salt. A really good way to control the sodium in there. Nice job.
Exactly. Well, thank you. I love the taste of garlic powder. I think it's also one of my favorites. Onions and garlics, they just have such a nice flavor to them. So I highly recommend it. But if you like other seasonings, you can totally try this with other seasonings. I'm just kind of going basic for this one. And then, of course, we're going to add a little bit of my onions because, what is a quesadilla without onions? And some more cheese. And then I'm going to throw this onto my skillet as well so we can get this one nice and heated up. Nice and golden brown. Amy, would you be able to do another chat question?
Well, I can do another chat question. And so this one is really, since we're all about speed today, we want to know about time. So how much time do you really spend cooking? Do you take on a meal? Are you the instant no cook kind of person? Are you the 15 minutes a little bit like what Isabel's doing for us today? Are you at 30 minutes? You like some more things, or you got more things going? Or you are 1 hour, like you like a full-blown meal and all of the fixins, I guess would be the way to say that. And I have to say that at one point in my life, I was a 1 hour, and then I was a 30-minute, and I'm rolling right on down to 15 right now. So I would have to put myself in the 15 minutes. And 15 minutes, no dishes, you know, I have a lot of things involved when I make dinner. So I got a lot of caveats. All right. We're going to give this one just another couple of seconds. So either instant, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour. And it looks like most of our people are 30 minutes, but oddly enough, we have another tie between the 1 hour and the 15. I don't know how you guys keep doing this, but this is great. I like when y'all have these ties. So you know, it varies. You've got every time limit out there except for the instant no cook. These people like a real meal or something warm. So thanks, you guys. Good job.
Thank you for sharing. That is super interesting. Me, it depends on the day. Sometimes I'm like, nope, I don't feel like cooking, so I'm going to do a 15-minute meal. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? I could spend an hour on cooking today, getting all those, you know, beautiful scents going through my house, listening to some music, you know, so it just kind of depends on the day for me. But most of the time, I'm between 15 and 30 minutes just because, I don't know, my husband's kind of picky, so I got to be careful about what I'm cooking. So right now, I got this grilling. I flipped it over once. I forgot to preheat my grill, so it's taking just a minute longer than it did for the sweet potato and quesadilla. But while that is finishing cooking, I want to share with you guys just a couple of tips to help you guys save time in the kitchen. So one of the first tips I want to share with you guys is to pre-chop your fruits and vegetables ahead of time, and then either freeze them until you're ready to use, or keep them in the refrigerator depending on what fruit or vegetable you use. And when I say to pre-cut them, make sure after you pre-cut your fruits and your vegetables that you do put them into the refrigerator as soon as you're done cutting them, just for food safety wise. If you want a little bit more information on how long things last in the freezer or how long things last in the refrigerator, foodsafety.gov is a great place to go to and get that information, and I highly recommend it to make sure you guys are staying safe while you are cooking. So that's one tip I wanted to share with you. I also want to share with you too, if you can, invest in some fun appliances. So some Goodwill and thrift stores and stuff might have some for a lot cheaper. Or saving up some money to get one, because I feel like having a good appliance can really help quicken your meal. So a skillet makes it really fast. A hand mixer helps you shred chicken really fast. And a pressure cooker is a really great way as well. You can cook frozen chicken in the pressure cooker and it's done in like 20 minutes. And so there's a lot of different fun appliances you can use to try and save you a little bit more time in the kitchen. And then finally, tip number 3 is to use packaged items. So just respectively paying attention to, the sodium levels and the saturated fat levels and stuff, but, noodles and sauces and frozen vegetables without added sauces and everything are great ways to save some time instead of, making, your own everything from raw food. So if you want to save up some time just buying the pre-stuff, but really paying attention to the sodium levels and the saturated fat levels and everything that's in that, but that's also a great way to save time as well. All right here I've got my chicken and broccoli quesadilla all fixed up, and I will bring this to you guys so you can see it a little bit closer, but it's super hot, so I'm going to carry it on my spatula so I don't burn myself. So I don't know if you guys can see that.
Safety first. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's see the cut inside. Can you switch it so we can see the inside of it? Ta-da, look at you, nice.
So, and you can make this much more colorful by adding a different type of vegetables, or if you don't love broccoli, there's tons of different vegetables you can use, and that's why we have those optional flavor choices at the end. All right, so last one. Amy, if you want to launch another chat or poll question so I can get this cleaned up and moved on to my next one.
Okay, I'm going to do a chat one this time because we've done a couple of polls, and what I really want to know is, are there any foods you all wouldn't eat when you were little, as a little kid, that you will eat now? So and this has a story with it, of course, because I always have a story, but when I was little, my mom convinced me that cheesecake was bad because I really didn't like anything white. I didn't like whipped cream. I didn't like sour cream. I didn't like anything white. No Swiss cheese, nothing. which all of which I eat now, but she convinced me that it was bad because it was just all white and it didn't have any color. I liked food with a lot of color. So if you would like to put in the chat, what is the one thing you'll eat now that you didn't eat then? Mushrooms are usually a good one, or that kind of thing. There we go. Sorry if you heard that. So feel free to chat away to us and tell us what you would eat. Oh, cottage cheese. Yep, that was another one I didn't eat, Barb. You're right. Pork chops. Ooh, tofu. Yeah, and now you eat it. Good for you. Okay, black olives and red wine. Well, I hope you weren't eating that when you were little, Chris. Maybe you were. I don't know. Vegetables. Yeah, I've always loved the vegetables. That was not a problem for me, but anything white was terrible. Oh, mushrooms. That is another one that people say a lot. They didn't eat. Or bananas. Oh, Chris says, yes, she was allowed to drink wine at a very young age and she didn't like it. Well, I'm glad to see that you got past that, Chris, because I personally have had a glass of wine with you before. But mushrooms, another one would be like casseroles. I didn't like my food all mixed together. I like to see it kind of separately. But now you can throw it all together and I'll eat it. Like that chicken broccoli one looks delicious to me. I think that may be my dinner one night this week. So since I'm on a roll with trying the recipes, and since we can't be together to sample the recipes, I now am making all the recipes so that I can speak to them. So, all right, more vegetables, exactly. All right, how you doing there, Isabel?
Doing good. I think I am ready.
All right, awesome. We are ready for you.
Okay, sounds great. So now we are going to switch gears a little bit and we are going to do a sweet quesadilla. So we are going to make a breakfast quesadilla. Now, this one is super great and super fun and really a great start to your day if you're one of those people that runs out without eating breakfast or just grabs like a granola bar from your pantry. So this is a really quick way to get a healthy, nutritious breakfast in that's going to keep you full, that's going to taste great, and also you can use it as a dessert or change up the flavors a little bit to make it more of a dessert rather than a breakfast. So what we have here is the apple and banana breakfast quesadilla. So I'm going to take another tortilla, another beautiful whole wheat tortilla. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to mix together. So this is actually one of Chris's recipes. If you've ever been to her blog, Empty Nest Eats, if you've never been there, I recommend going there. She has delicious, healthy, and nutritious recipes all on there. So this is actually, this dip I'm about to make is one of her recipes. So what it is it's yogurt and peanut butter mixed together. Now this tastes delicious if you just want to, dip some apples in it. But for today's purposes, we are going to make this for a base for our quesadilla. So I've already got my yogurt measured out, and I've already got my peanut butter measured out. So we are going to mix these both together. Now, one thing I want to mention is while you are mixing these together, just keep mixing. It's going to look like it's not combining for a little while, but then if you just keep mixing, it's going to make a nice and thick and delicious dip. We're not going to use the whole dip on our tortilla, though I would love to. That's going to add a lot of calories and a lot of fat. Good fats, but still a lot. So we're just going to put about a tablespoon or so, maybe 2 tablespoons onto our tortilla just to make a nice base with some good sources of protein, some healthy fats, and I highly recommend using Greek yogurt because Greek yogurt makes it thicker and more of a dip consistency. So you can see here, right here, I've got the dip all situated. I'll bring it up so you guys can see it. I don't know, my lighting is a little off this morning, but it's kind of like a nice thick dip. So
how much yogurt and peanut butter did you use, hon?
So I made her recipe a little bit smaller. I scaled it down a little bit. So I used half a cup of yogurt and 2.5 tablespoons of peanut butter. So okay. I think, I can't remember the exact recipe count, but Chris might be able to answer that question. But I just kind of shrank it down a little bit because my husband doesn't like peanut butter. So I'm going to be eating this all myself, but that's fine with me. All right. So now I'm going to take this, I'm just going to spread a little bit onto my tortilla here. Take a nice base. going to cut my banana. So this is a huge banana. The recipe I think calls for a small banana. This is a giant large banana. So I'm only going to use half of it. If you love banana, definitely you can use the whole thing. I have this really fun banana slicer that I'm going to show you guys. That's really cool. It slices your bananas into little pieces. So this thing right here. And all you do is you put the little banana in the hole and you just punch it like that. And it makes these beautiful banana slices in 3 seconds. You don't even have to get a knife out.
Fun.
See? Nice little slices. I'm not being see.
And Chris has shared the recipe in the chat box, everyone. So she's put the link right in there. You can copy that link and paste it to later. I will also share it with these comments later when we are done so that you have it.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy and Chris. That will be wonderful. Okay, so I've got my bananas layered on here. So now, I should have grabbed a bigger cutting board. I'm running out of space.
Isabelle, can you possibly move the honey out of the way and the cinnamon, yes, so we could see? That would be great. Thank you.
There we go. I am so sorry, everybody. Kind of doing this on my own thing. Okay, so now I've got that. I'm going to move this out of the way. Now I got my apple, and I'm going to slice this into small spaces as well. So right here, I've also got a super cool, fun kitchen tool. That's my favorite thing, is finding fun kitchen tools. And this is a 16 slice apple slicer. So it makes your apple slices nice and thin. So you don't have to, you know, continue cutting them smaller and smaller. So I'm gonna push down, get that. And the most fun part is this right here. Usually pops out your apples in such a small, cute little spaces.
So, where'd you get that?
On Amazon.
Hey, we had a helpful comment about peeling bananas too. Use the flower end. The other end, if you struggle, at the stem end, turn it around. The flower end it is much easier to open there.
That is perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know I was struggling with opening up this banana slice, so thank you. It
wasn't just me. That was from one of our friends, Lydia.
Oh, fabulous. Well, thank you very much. I'll have to try that next time. Okay. Now I'm almost done with this quesadilla, so I'm going to turn my griddle on just to preheat it a little bit. I'm going to layer these apple slices on top of the banana slices, like so. Then I'm going to take a little bit of cinnamon, just to kind of add a nice depth of flavor here. So add a little bit of cinnamon. And then for some added protein, I am going to add a little bit of chia seeds. So you can do this with flax seeds, you can do it with chia seeds, you can totally leave them all out. So that is totally up to you and what you prefer. All right. Then I'm gonna just fold this over like so, and I'm gonna toss this one onto the griddle as well. And when it's all finished, I'm gonna drizzle on a little bit of honey. I'm gonna let that cook for a few minutes. If you have another chat question, Amy, or a poll question.
I think that I might have another chat question for you. But I do have a comment about this. You could have that totally for dinner, right? It's not just for breakfast, correct? Okay. All right, good.
Right.
Exactly. And our friend Lydia said she was kind of a skeptic as well. But think about Curious George and basically all apes and those types of critters all do it that way. They don't start from the end we do. They start from the other end because it's closer to where the peel is till you pull it apart. So
that's a very good point. You know, I didn't never even think about that, but that's so true. I wonder how we started pulling it from the stem. Some of us. I'll have to try how that works for me. Thank you for sharing that.
If I would have thought about it, I could have looked that up and we could have chatted about that.
That's all right.
That's all right. Okay, so we've seen 2. Now we're on to number 3 of these lovely quick go-to things. But if anybody has a very fast, quick go-to dinner or breakfast for dinner that they would love to share with us, we would love to hear about it. So feel free to enter it in the chat. The other day I was trying to think of what is my favorite go-to when we were talking about this last week. And I have to say that in my house, it's always like a fried egg sandwich or, breakfast for dinner, because it seems like we can get breakfast on the table pretty reasonably quick. But I'm going to add this one to my repertoire. All right, let's see if anybody else is helping us out here. So feel free to add it in the chat. And by the way, the link is in the chat to the peanut butter dip Chris mentioned. Her website is in there. It's called Empty Nest Eats. It is really fun and really great recipes. And you will see some coming up in our next class. So there's that. Now, I do want to mention, by the way, that y'all that joined us at the Health and Happiness Hour, we have booked another one of those. It is going to be September 30th from 4 to 5. I will send the link out with that along with the Empty Nest Eats so you guys can sign up for it. And we have an old friend coming to join us at that one. Her name is, I just blanked her name. Oh my gosh, I just had a senior moment. Can you believe that one? Nicole Morrissey. And she is also a dietitian, but she is a diabetes educator, and she knows more about diabetes, pre-diabetes, and food. She also has her own food blog, and I have printed 2 of her recipes today. So they are fabulously healthy, great, good stuff. But she used to teach, she used to work up in South Haven with Chris, and I was lucky enough to join them on some classes. So we're getting the band back together. She's very fun. You'll like her. And it is Health and Happiness Hour. She doesn't really have a lot. She's just going to talk about diabetes, pre-diabetes, and about food. So please feel free to join us for that one as well.
Thank you so much, Amy. That is wonderful. Yes, the Health and Happiness Hours that we did earlier last week or 2 weeks ago was really great. And Chris shared some really, really wonderful nutritional information if you're looking for some more nutrition information. So I highly recommend it if you can sign up for it. It's a great class to learn a lot of new things. All right, so here we've got our finished breakfast quesadilla. Oh, got some apples and banana slide out of there. All right, I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like. There,
beautiful. Oh, it looks delicious.
There you go. And right there, we've got another delicious recipe for you that can be done super quickly. Great recipes. All of these I highly recommend trying each and every one of them. Now, does anybody have any questions or comments about anything?
Yep, now is your time to ask questions and comments. And I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm going to go with you must have done a really good job. And by the way, I know we're pushing up against time here, so we're going to keep this part just a little bit shorter, but she would have had these all done in 15 minutes had I not stopped her every few minutes and asked her a bunch of questions. So, but we got some great job, makes me want to make quesadillas. We do such a nice job. They love it. We love you too. Thank you. Oh, we got clappy hands. I love that when we get the clappy hands. So do you do with the honey, does it sound messy? Is it messy? Do you put it on the inside or just on the top?
You know, I would just go on the top. I don't mind getting my hands a little messy when I'm eating, but if you don't love that, you can make a little, dipping bowl and you could dip it in there, or you could put it on the inside before you grill it, or you can open it up maybe and put it on the inside. Otherwise, you could just drizzle it on and eat it with the fork. So however you like to eat it. And I do want to say that this smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it right now because it smells like fall. So it smells so good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I thank you so much for coming again to our Healthy Cooking with Chris classes. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And I hope Chris is still with us because I have a question, and we have a question about diabetics, and I'm not sure that this is up your alley. I think it might be more Chris's alley. And it is, would that breakfast burrito be okay for a diabetic? I'm assuming with that added protein that helps some with your chia in that, right? Chris, are you with us? She probably walked away.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, say your question again about chia. What was it?
Yeah, well, is the breakfast burrito okay for a diabetic?
Well, you have to look at the carb count, and it also depends on how many carbs you get per meal, and also on what medications you're taking. So, Isabel, what's the nutrition? What's the carb count on that? I don't have the recipe in front of me.
On the breakfast one, for this one, it's 57 grams of carbs.
So normally people are allowed 45 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per meal. So that's your upper limit, but you could cut those carbs by slicing your apples thinner, using more peanut butter and less yogurt, making sure you have a whole grain tortilla, leaving out the honey. The chia seeds aren't going to make a bit of difference on the carbs. They have minimal amounts of carbs. So it can be done in a healthful way in a diabetic diet. You just don't want to overdo it.
See, I knew you'd have the answer. Thank you. All right. And so, yeah, people are just saying this is lovely. Somebody makes an open-faced taco with cheese on top as their fast meal. That is awesome. But again, in the microwave. So Isabel, you're going to have to wait till your microwave is fixed for that one.
It gets here. So.
I know. And it never fails. So, all right. Thank you all very much. We hope you join us at our next Cooking with Chris. We're going to be talking about lentils, which I think is going to be really fun. And then we're going to do pumpkin after that one, which is my favorite. So, and if not, look forward to that Health and Happiness Hour. Maybe you can join us for that. You bring your beverage of choice. We are not picky. So, all right, everybody, have a lovely afternoon. And thank you for joining us at Healthy Cooking with Chris and Isabel.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye, everybody.